So, yeah, great to see everybody. We're going to be talking and going a bit deeper into event sustainability and all of the opportunities organizers have to improve their levels of sustainability and they're conscious on sustainability. So, very pleased to be joined today, as you can see on the call, by Abby from Trees Not Teas, and hopefully very soon, Darren from Three Word Runs and the Green Runners. So we were going to start with Darren, but we're going to start with Abby today. So Abby, thanks for joining us. First of all, it's great to see you here. I think a lot of our organisers are going to know more or less about Trees Not Teas, but for those that don't know, can you just give them a top level overview about who are Trees Not Teas and what exactly do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So Trees Not Teas is an initiative that works with event organisers to reduce unnecessary merch and instead plant trees instead. And that's here in the UK on our own sites. It was founded by ultra runner Jim Mann, who I think was just so frustrated by all of the amount of free merch that's being handed out and just kind of thrown out everywhere without much thought put into it, and just wanted to offer an alternative. So we're actually part of the Future Forest Company. Oh, hello.
Hey, Darren.
Hi.
How you doing?
How are you?
Hey,
Good.
Darren. Yeah, we just got stuck in. We flipped the script a little bit because we were going to go with you at the start. So Abby's just talking to us about Trees Not Teas, and then we'll come and say hello in a second, if that's okay.
Amazing.
Nice.
Cool. So where was I? Yeah, just saying that we're actually part of the Future Forest Company, and we have 12 sites across the UK. And at those sites, we do more than just planting trees. We also restore biodiversity, protect nature, protect the land that's already there, and do little projects like restoring peatland and planting wildflowers. So it's like part of a bigger bit of work. But for Trees Not Teas specifically, we wanted to keep it really, really simple and just create this simple choice for participants that makes them ask the question of, do you actually really need that t-shirt? Because for us, if the answer is yes to that, that isn't the problem. Like if you're going to have a t-shirt, you're going to wear it, you're going to enjoy it, that isn't the issue. I think the issue is when you're getting it for free, you don't really need it, and it just sits in the bottom of your wardrobe. And then ultimately the production of that t-shirt was completely unnecessary. Um, what I always like to think about with Trees Not Teas is that it's doing double the good. So it's not only planting the trees, which obviously has so many countless benefits, but it also reduces the CO2 production, the wastewater production, microplastics, and then the chemical pollution of t-shirts, because it avoids their production altogether. And I think people might be quite shocked at how bad an actual t-shirt can be. So a lot of race organisers might choose a polyester t-shirt because obviously it's more sweat wicking. But one polyester t-shirt actually produces over 3 kilograms of CO2 in equivalents, and that's equivalent to driving a car 11 miles. It also has the same amount of plastic as about 7 plastic bottles, and it can use anywhere between 500 and 1,000 litres of water to produce. So it's actually uh, quite damaging for the environment if these aren't getting put to good use. Um, so so then we plant trees instead, and we plant our trees on our sites in the UK, and we plant mixes of native or naturalised trees. So the most common on our sites tend to be sessile oaks, downy and silver birches, but we also plant other trees like Scots pines, willows, rowan trees, aspens, stuff like that. But our philosophy is that we plant the right tree in the right place. So yeah, the idea is that uh, by planting a tree in the spot that needs it most, or it's the best for the tree itself, but also it's best for the land, and it helps protect that environment as a whole. And the way it works is we actually plant our trees in the winter months because this is when the saplings are dormant and it increases their chance of survival because they're less shocked when they're actually transplanted. And then what we do is we then go around and take photos of the tree and then offer them out for sponsorship. We are in the future going to be doing this in a much more intelligent way, but at the moment we literally have people on the ground taking a photo of every single tree, which is obviously very labour intensive. So we're going to look at other alternatives for this. But that's kind of how we currently do it to have that that really that transparency. So each sponsorship of a tree with us covers the cost of planting that tree and also the maintenance of the sapling for 5 years. So this means that they're checked regularly, that they're cleared of any bracken, weeds, stuff like that, and that any that have failed are actually replaced as well. And then after that 5 year point, we start viewing the forest as like a collective ecosystem. So we start making decisions that are best for that wider forest to like improve its biodiversity, to protect it in the best way that we possibly can. And yeah, our sites are protected for 100 years, so they should be, forests that are going to be there for the future and for future generations to enjoy. So with our offering, like what I'm sure quite a lot of people will have already seen this, but we take photos of the tree, as I've said, and we share a certificate that has the photo and then the species and the location of the tree. And that's what we have been doing for the past few years since our inception. Conception, not inception. But yeah, we've found that with that, as much as that's good for the transparency side of it, it didn't really show the bigger picture of what we do. And kind of what we do is actually really impactful. And I think maybe people didn't realize how much we were actually getting done on the ground and how much like those little individual decisions can lead to such a big impact when people all come together. So we've actually moved to a new platform. We announced it on Monday. And yeah, Brighton Marathon weekend were the first to experience the platform and have all the trees on there. So we're really excited to be able to show that sort of collective impact finally, whereas before it was just the one tree by itself.
Yeah, that's cool, Abby. Thank you for that. And that's didn't had no idea one t-shirt might be around 7 plastic bottles. That's a great realization. And also it's really cool.
Mm.
I didn't have no idea actually you create or rather plant, sorry, such a diverse range of trees. That's cool. I kind of in my mind maybe had it as one or two. So that's awesome. You mentioned it a little bit there, the platform. I'm going to share my screen in a second so we can have a little look at that. I got a sneak peek a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's fantastic. I think where it's going with, like you said, trying to show that collective impact is just helping people quantify, like I said, the impact that they can have. So yeah, I'm very pleased to share my screen here. Let's have a look at this. Cool. So everybody can see my screen here. We're on the Trees Not Teas website, and this is again, as Abby said, they've really only had one event to date on the platform, but you can see every single person that from the Brighton Marathon has chosen to give up the opportunity of a t-shirt and plant a tree. And on this right-hand side here, and this is just what I love, is just seeing that one event, okay, can have such an incredible impact on a number of trees. And so, from a selfish point of view, here at Eventrac, we would love to see this extrapolate across all of our organizers and all of our events to see as a collective what we could do. So yeah, I think this is a really cool piece of technology. I think this is engaging on so many levels. So hopefully that this is the start of a lot more trees to come. At the end of this call or towards the end, I'm going to just again show our organizers how they can implement the products at this stage, with the platform that we've got at the moment. So we'll go on to that in a second, but for now, we're going to come on and say hello to Darren. Darren, how are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. Sorry for my tardiness.
Yeah, it's all right. Fashionably late. Keep
Bit of
us
a
on our
tech,
toes.
bit of a tech issue, but we're all good now. So
Exactly that. So for those that don't know, Darren is an event organizer that uses Eventrac with his events company, Three Word Runs, some lovely events down at Rathfinny and Longbridge. I think it's Longbridge. Is that right, Darren?
100, yeah.
Beautiful. And Darren is one big cog of the Green Runners, which we're going to hear a bit more about in a second. But my first question to you, Darren, is you were at the running show this year.
Yeah.
I would like you to tell everybody roughly, you don't need to be exact, but roughly how many pairs of running shoes did you get back on the road in the 48 hours of the running show?
28 in total. 28 pairs of trainers were repaired, which was amazing, and loads of real interesting conversations with runners who didn't even know it was a thing. So even though the physical output was 28 pairs of trainers, having those individual conversations with people was just as eventful. Being able to talk to runners who didn't know it was a thing, to then get them to go off and do a simple repair on their trainers to keep them going for longer. And that's what it's about. It's about the education more than anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally agree. That's really cool. So, Darren, I'm going to fire a few questions your way, if that's okay. So, a little bit more about where your running journey started and how you're involved in the running industry here today.
I mean, I used to run around Rathvinny before it was a vineyard. It was just beautiful farmlands in a little valley. And I was running through one day and I just happened to speak to Sarah, who's the owner, and I said I'd love to organise a race around here or get a race around here. I was more of a advocate for environmental impact and sustainability prior to becoming a race organiser, but now I'm kind of combining the two, and some of the things that we've tried have really worked, and some haven't.
Plastic bottles. Obviously, plastic bottles are they're there because they're convenient. But what is your simple advice to an organizer to as easy win? Because you said yourself you don't even do single-use cups either at your event. So what
No.
is that? What is the alternative in terms of plastic bottles? What can an organizer do?
Well, provide water. Obviously, it's a health and safety requirement. If you want a license, you have to provide water, and especially at the Brighton Marathon, this year, and as last year as well. I believe it was quite warm last year. We need to provide that water. There are options like in trail running, you have to be self-sufficient. So you wear a vest, you stop at an aid station, you fill up your water. Road races are different. I mean, I know there's a speed element to it. Some people don't want to stop; they would just want to pick up and go. But refill stations, bringing your own cup. I mean, I waited and watched some of the runners as they did the Brighton Marathon, and it was amazing to see, compared to 3 years ago, how many runners were actually using their own hydration vests, carrying handheld water bottles, and using. I mean, they had 6 refill stations along the course this year as well, which is a big improvement. But I actually have been running the last 4 years with a oat milk carton that's cut off. You cut the top off, you then fold it up, put it in your vest, and I shared that with the runners that signed up for the Rathvinny run. I shared it. I shared it on the runner email 2 years ago. Didn't really get much interest, and then last year I added images of what it looked like, and the amount of runners that had come with their own foldable running cup was amazing. I took loads of photos and shared it, and that whole piece around an image can tell 1,000 words. It really does. And it was just sharing that positivity around runners using the fold-up cup option. But there are loads of options. You can get a silicone cups. You can buy those. But a simple hack is, I mean, before we had all of this, I mean, I'm old enough to sort of remember. You used to go to a fountain with your hands and drink water. I know there's that that will never happen again. But there are options available. We don't have to keep providing plastic single-use bottles of water or anything plastic anymore.
No, it's a great point. So you mentioned already a couple of your ways that you're trying to improve sustainability through your events. You mentioned medals, you even mentioned laces, which is a new one to me, and I'm going to be researching that after this call. But obviously the no apparel is a clear one. But if there were a couple of other ways that you could kind of highlight areas of an event where it's potentially not easy, but ways that the organizers could start bringing to their conscious or start thinking about alternatives. Are there any other ways that an event organizer can start making some wins on sustainability?
Yeah, I think the biggest impact for any runner is travel. So car
Mm,
travel to races is it's a huge impact. In fact, in my two races, I provide electric minibus pickups from local station. And again, the first couple of years, we only had two or three taking up that option. I've got 13 this year, so it is growing.
yeah.
So yeah, travel is really important, and especially timings of the events. Most running events are at the weekends. It's when we have limited public transport service. Yet most races will start around 9 o'clock in the morning, which then doesn't give the option of runners who want to reduce their travel impact to be able to use public transport to get to those races in time to register and be at the start line. So, as part of the Green Runners, this is one of our biggest things. We have four pillars, and the very first pillar is how we travel, and it's a massive impact. So even just getting race organisers to think about the timing of their events.
Mm,
Is it near a train station? Is it near a bus station? Um, yeah, so that for me is probably the biggest overall impact. Food options as well. Think about where you're getting your snacks from, what snacks you're offering. Are you separate? Talk about trash-free trails. I love what trash-free trails do around raising the awareness of litter on our trails. And when you do have big events or aid stations, think about recycling. What race directors could do is maybe think about the recycling impact. And I usually use Glastonbury as a great example. Glastonbury have 250,000 people attend over 3 days. They have almost like a tented village of its own with conveyor belts, and every single bit of waste is sifted through and recycled, which is amazing. So they have composted food, they have plastic bottles, they have cans, they have glass bottles, they have separate areas for every single option. And there's no reason why we can't do that at aid stations and finishes at races. Don't get
Yeah.
baited. Don't get baited product like if you're gonna do a t-shirt, and I get it, don't date them. They
Yeah.
become one use only. No matter how good a race organizer you are, you won't be able to get that spot on. So there will always be waste, because the last thing a race organizer wants to do is run out of medals. So there will always be a buffer. What happens then to those medals? Have a look at the greenrunners.com. There's loads of resource on there. One of the co-founders, and we're trying to help. We're trying to put together actually a scheme called the Green Race Scheme, which will specifically try and help race organisers to think about what they're doing, what changes they can make, etc.
Cool. Darren, that's amazing. Thank you very much. There's a load of great and useful information in there. Just yeah, because I think we could talk about this endlessly, but just to talk about you mentioned the pillars of Green Runners.
Yeah,
You mentioned one of them being travel. Can you just let us know what the other three are?
yeah. So how we kit up,
Mm,
how we eat,
mm,
and how we speak out. Around 84% of runners want to make a change but don't know how to make a change for sustainable. And that's what the Green Runners is. And what we're trying to do, we call it 50 shades of green to make it kind of easier. Because you don't have to be full on dark green. We're not expecting you never to buy kit, always cycle to a race,
yeah,
become vegan, challenge everything that's going on in the racing industry. It's not about that. It's about making small individual change that will help. That's all it is.
yeah. It's inspiring stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, look, that's amazing, Darren. Thank you for that. Like, hopefully, everybody has been able to pick out, hopefully multiple tidbits from that they can start implementing, and just like you said, starting this journey of changing the mindset of people. And it won't, unfortunately, it won't happen overnight, but if we all start now, then we can have this effect going forward. So that's amazing. So we're just going to round off today by talking a little bit about how the organizers, obviously on this call, Eventrac users, can implement some of these things. So just a little word from our point of view about some of the things that we at Eventrac do to help sustainability. We have very basic renewable energy tariff, and we're also predominantly remote workers, so we do try and reduce travel there. And then 9 times out of 10 when we do travel, we're on a bicycle. We have a low emissions vehicle stipulation, but in general, we'd all prefer to be on the bike anyway. So that's good. And not quite sustainability, but we do have in our contracts at work that we have to love animals. So that comes from the top of the business, and again, just doing our little bit where we can. So to talk a little bit about the implementation of this, I'm going to share my screen and just show our organizers. I think they will know this already, but we're going to talk about how an organizer can implement Trees Not Teas, and just a couple of other elements as well. So hopefully everybody can see my screen at the moment. I'm in a demo account here. So an organizer, as of today, can add Trees Not Teas onto their registration flow, and we'll come on to pair-ups as well. This might evolve in the future. Right now, obviously, we've got 2 different styles of, or maybe multiple actually, different ways an organizer might be implementing a t-shirt. Obviously, you've got your complimentary t-shirt, like Darren says, and in that case, an organizer's just has the option then to add a custom question. Do you want to opt out of this t-shirt and opt in for a Trees Not Tea? So that's the first one. The second one is then people that are selling a t-shirt potentially, then they will add the Trees Not Teas product. And the third of all is ultimately those people that don't sell anything. And then it's the same point, is we would love it if those people that have nothing to offer can drop in some of these sustainability products into their entry form. So in any specific event, you'll go to your entry form. In the merchandise section of your entry form, you will have your product section. If it's blank, then this is highlighting this fact that if you go into the third-party products, and some may know about this, some might not. These are some of the brands we've been working with. This will evolve over time, but in here, you can drag and drop the pair-ups kit onto the form here, and obviously there's a description there. And then down towards the bottom at the moment, we've got the Trees Not Teas, sorry, sponsor a tree. So this is literally the click of one button, and these will be added onto the entry form for all participants to then have the option to sign up for these things. The next product, which we haven't really mentioned specifically today, but is another cool one, which we're selfishly pleased about, is we've got a reusable cup on the platform as well.
Hey.
So for those organizers that are trying to encourage this potential reduction of plastic bottles, then at least at the very worst, by adding this onto the form, you can say you're trying to do your bit for the environment there. So those are the real tools that we've got at the moment, and we're hoping that these will evolve over time. And again, we will be working hopefully more and more closely with green runners about heroing them and trying to do our bit to spread the message through to other people. And then some of the other ways, very simple stuff, people may or may not be aware of. We would love to encourage people to go paperless on Eventrac. We have the ability to vastly reduce start lists. So for those that do or don't know, we have a scanning app. This is an application that feeds into your signups. This is all part of your account. It is there. You'll see it on your account when you next go back in on that left-hand set of tabs. And ultimately what this is this could replace, if you want it to, the principle of exporting a signups list, printing it off, possibly printing it off several times for all of the volunteers that you're going to be using at check-in. And hopefully it's a nice upgrade on potentially having a soggy piece of paper that you're going to be ticking off names and that might blow away in the wind. So yeah, going paperless is one that we hope people might consider. And then just using our charity functions, maybe to partner with charities in the local area, maybe national charities, but that might be doing their bit on sustainability. So this is plugging into a feature which we already use. And again, it's just another way to feed in to people that they might be able to do more. The one which I'm going to drop into now, I don't have a lot of information on it because it's very early days and it's a huge piece of the puzzle for us. But Darren was alluding to the principle of this earlier. We're working incredibly hard to try and find a partner that we can work with to offer our organizers a print-on-demand service. Now, this doesn't solve the problem of products being printed, but like Darren said, even he admitted, I think, fair to say that, you know, there will always be the need for event t-shirts. But the print-on-demand principle, not only does it help our organizers for not having to commit to stock in advance, make orders, and then have the extra smalls and extra larges sitting in the garage for the next 10 years. It's that idea that only the amount of products that are wanted will ever get printed. And so for us, again, from a selfish standpoint, we are, you know, really pleased to be starting this journey. It will not come anytime soon because it's a very complicated puzzle with the level of personalization. And I think all organizers will know we want to implement something that will be a seamless journey. We could have a tool for it tomorrow, but it wouldn't be the most polished. So we're working very hard with that. We have a partner in the UK that we're talking to that might be able to offer the same level of technological development for us to be able to do that. So watch this space on print on demand. But again, hopefully that we can do our bit to kind of spread the word on the wastage. So Darren, thank you very much for your time. Abby, you too. Great to see both of you. Everybody, thanks for joining the call. If you've got any questions, please fire them my way. I'm sure everybody has my contact details. We'll be sharing the video at a later date, and we will push out some info on green runners, and I'll possibly be touching base with Darren just in case there are other messages we want to share in the meantime. Okay,
Thanks
everybody,
Thanks so much
have a
for having
fantastic
us.
day. No, it's a pleasure.
Lovely
We'll
to
see you
see you,
soon.
Abby.
Yeah, lovely to see you.
Hey everyone, bye bye.